Chicago fell silent as Jennifer Hudson stepped onto the stage. This wasn't a concert. There were no flashing lights, no celebration, and no screaming fans waiting for a superstar moment. Jennifer had returned to her hometown for a much more emotional reason, to honor the life and legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson. And then she began to sing. The first notes of "A Change Is Gonna Come" filled the room, and suddenly, this wasn't just a performance anymore. It felt like a farewell, a tribute, and a powerful reminder of everything Reverend Jackson stood for. Jennifer Hudson, a daughter of Chicago who rose from the city's South Side to become a global superstar, was now standing in front of a room filled with mourners, leaders, family members, and people whose lives had been touched by Jesse Jackson. As her voice echoed through the room, the atmosphere became increasingly emotional. Then something happened that caught everyone's attention. The crowd began rising to its feet. But why was Jennifer chosen for this deeply meaningful moment? Why did she choose a song about struggle, hope, and change? And what made this Chicago performance feel so much more powerful than an ordinary tribute? The answer goes deeper than music. It connects Jennifer Hudson's Chicago roots, Jesse Jackson's extraordinary legacy, and a song that has become an anthem of hope for generations. This is the story behind one of Jennifer Hudson's most emotional performances in the unforgettable moment when Chicago came together to say goodbye. To understand why Jennifer Hudson's performance in Chicago carried so much emotional weight, you have to understand the moment she was walking into, because this was not a concert, not a glamorous celebrity appearance, and not another stop on a tour. It was a deeply meaningful homegoing service honoring Reverend Jesse Jackson, a legendary Chicago figure whose decades of activism, faith, leadership, and civil rights work touched generations of people. And when Jennifer's name was announced, the significance immediately became even more personal, because she wasn't just another performer standing on that stage. She was a Chicago native returning to her hometown to honor a man whose own voice had become part of America's history. And then Jennifer began singing "A Change Is Gonna Come," the iconic Sam Cooke song about struggle, perseverance, hope, and the belief that better days can eventually arrive. And suddenly the song seemed to fit the moment almost perfectly, because Jesse Jackson spent much of his life fighting for the possibility of change, encouraging communities to speak up, demanding equality, defending voting rights, and pushing people to believe that their voices could actually make a difference. So as Jennifer's powerful voice filled the House of Hope, the performance became more than music. It became a tribute, a reflection, and for many people in that room, a reminder of the ideals Jesse Jackson represented. And what made the moment even more striking was the way the audience responded, with reports from the service noting that much of the crowd rose to its feet during Jennifer's performance, turning the room into a sea of people standing in recognition. And that reaction says something important, because they weren't simply responding to a famous singer hitting a powerful note. They were responding to the meaning behind the song, the importance of the occasion, and the life of the man they had gathered to remember, while Jennifer herself appeared deeply immersed in the moment, creating the kind of performance that felt less like entertainment and more like an emotional farewell. But this is also where it is important to separate what we can actually see from what we can only speculate about. Because headlines may describe the moment as Jennifer breaking down, but an emotional performance does not automatically tell us exactly what was happening inside her heart or why she may have appeared emotional. And there is no need to invent a private story when the public facts are already powerful enough. Jennifer was performing at a major memorial service. She was singing a song filled with themes of struggle and hope. She was standing in her hometown, and she was helping honor someone whose legacy was deeply connected to Chicago. And that combination alone explains why the atmosphere could feel so intense. Because Chicago is not simply another city for Jennifer Hudson. It is where her own story began, where the young girl with dreams developed the talent that would eventually take her onto international stages. And returning to that city as an accomplished global star can carry a different kind of emotional weight, especially when the reason for returning is to honor someone who meant so much to the community. And there is something almost poetic about the connection between Jennifer and Jesse Jackson, because their careers may have been completely different, but both understood the power of a voice. Jennifer used hers through music, acting, television, and entertainment, while Jesse Jackson used his through ministry, activism, organizing, and public leadership. And on this particular day, those two worlds came together through one song, creating a moment where music and history seemed to meet on the same stage. And the choice of "A Change Is Gonna Come" made that connection even stronger because the song has become a lasting symbol of perseverance, carrying the pain of difficult times while refusing to surrender hope. And that message fit naturally into a service celebrating Jesse Jackson's life, because his legacy was built around the belief that change was possible, even when the odds seemed impossible. So every lyric suddenly carried additional meaning. Every note felt heavier, and every pause gave the audience another opportunity to reflect on the person they had come to honor. And Jennifer didn't need an elaborate production to make the moment memorable, because there were no flashy effects competing for attention, and no need for spectacle. The room itself was filled with history, emotion, memories, and people who had known or admired Jesse Jackson for decades. And Jennifer's voice became the thread connecting all of those emotions together, reminding everyone that music can sometimes communicate what ordinary words cannot, because a speech can explain a legacy, a photograph can preserve a memory, and a documentary can tell a story. But a song can make people feel that story, and Jennifer Hudson has a voice capable of doing exactly that, which is why her performance resonated so strongly with the audience. And perhaps the most powerful part of the entire moment was that Jennifer did not need to make herself the center of attention. She used her gift to honor someone else, allowing the focus to remain on Jesse Jackson and the legacy he left behind. And that is what makes the performance so meaningful months later, because it wasn't really about celebrity gossip or creating a viral moment. It was about respect, remembrance, and legacy. And when you look at the scene as a whole, it becomes almost symbolic. A Chicago-born artist who went from the city's South Side to global fame standing in her hometown, to honor a Chicago leader whose influence reached far beyond the city, with a song about hope and change providing the bridge between them. And for those watching, the message was bigger than Jennifer's emotions. It was about what happens when a person leaves this world, but the ideas they fought for continue through other voices. Because Jesse Jackson's physical presence may have been gone, but the values he spent decades speaking about were still alive in the room. And Jennifer's performance became one more reminder that a legacy doesn't disappear when the person is gone. Sometimes it becomes the responsibility of the next generation to carry it forward. And as Jennifer's voice filled the church and the audience rose to its feet, the moment became a powerful example of how music can transform grief into remembrance and remembrance into inspiration. And perhaps that is why people continue to talk about it. Because Jennifer Hudson didn't simply sing a song in Chicago, she helped create a moment where a hometown, a legendary leader, a historic message, and one of the city's most recognizable voices came together. And when the final note faded, the performance was over, but the meaning behind it remained. A tribute to Jesse Jackson, a reflection of Chicago's history, a celebration of resilience, and a reminder that sometimes the most powerful way to say goodbye is not with another headline, but with a voice strong enough to carry the message forward. In the end, Jennifer Hudson's performance in Chicago was about much more than a song. Standing in her hometown and singing "A Change Is Gonna Come" at Reverend Jesse Jackson's homegoing service created a powerful moment of music, memory, and legacy. Her voice helped honor a man who spent decades using his own voice to inspire change, while the crowd's emotional response showed just how deeply his life had touched people. Jennifer may have stepped onto that stage as a superstar, but for those few unforgettable minutes, she was also a daughter of Chicago, paying tribute to one of the city's most influential figures. And when the final note faded, the message remained. Legacies may live beyond a lifetime, and powerful voices can continue inspiring people long after the person behind them is gone. If this story moved you, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more powerful celebrity stories and unforgettable moments. And tell us in the comments, what did you think of Jennifer Hudson's emotional tribute to Jesse Jackson?